It's looking more and more like Sean "Diddy" Combs will not be home for Christmas. And if the current legal trajectory holds, this holiday season and several to come may pass without him crossing the threshold of freedom again. For nearly a year, the once untouchable music mogul has been behind bars. He's now facing the cold reality that his fifth request for bail has been denied.
Judge, in literally the last maybe 10 minutes, denying Diddy's motion for bail, meaning Sean Combs is going to stay behind bars until his sentencing in 2 months from now.
The words from the federal bench were unambiguous. There are no exceptional reasons to release him before sentencing on October 3rd. None. It's a stark and sobering statement for a man whose life once revolved around private jets, red carpets, and sold-out arenas. And it's a reality that cuts deep, for him, for his family, and for the fans who have followed his career for decades. Sean Combs rose to global fame, not just as a musician, but as a brand. He was the architect of Bad Boy Records, the mind behind multi-platinum hits, the businessman who turned Sean John into a fashion staple, and the media figure who co-founded Revolt TV. For years, his name was synonymous with success, with influence, power, and a seat at the highest tables in entertainment. But that public image has been shattered. In September 2024, federal agents arrested Combs in New York, charging him with 3 felonies: racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, fraud or coercion, and transportation to engage in prostitution, a violation of the Mann Act. The indictment centered on disturbing allegations from women who once stood at his side, including ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura and another woman known only as Jane. What prosecutors described went far beyond salacious headlines. They painted a picture of control, coercion, and violence, a world in which fame and influence allegedly masked abuse. The trial began in May 2025 and stretched for 8 long weeks.
Jurors have reached a partial verdict in the Sean Diddy Combs sexual misconduct trial. The jury reached a verdict on 4 of the 5 counts, but is stuck on the top charge, racketing conspiracy, a charge that could send Combs to jail for life.
In the courtroom, prosecutors presented evidence they claimed revealed the truth behind the glitter, testimony from multiple women, accounts of drug-fueled encounters, and most notably, unreleased hotel surveillance footage from 2016 showing Combs kicking and dragging Ventura in a hallway. The defense fought back hard, framing Combs's actions within the context of a consensual, alternative lifestyle. They argued there was no coercion, only private relationships misrepresented under the glare of public scrutiny. When the verdict came in on July 2nd, the jury acquitted Combs of racketeering conspiracy and sex trafficking, but they found him guilty on 2 counts of violating the Mann Act, charges that carry up to 10 years each. Prosecutors have recommended a sentence of 51 to 63 months in prison, while the defense has argued for far less. After the verdict, Combs's legal team immediately renewed their push for bail. This was his 5th attempt since his arrest. They offered an extraordinary bond package, $50 million, secured by his Miami mansion, strict house arrest, electronic monitoring, and private security.
Yeah, so essentially what we're learning from this judge, I mean, it's some of the same reasoning that we heard with the initial ruling when the defense also asked for instance, him to be released on $50 billion bail, in which case they're saying essentially that he failed to provide burden of proof as to why he should be released on this $50 million bail. Also citing his previous criminal background along with being a potential danger to society. So I don't think it's necessarily a surprise how that this denial came in, that in fact Sean Diddy Combs at this point will have to wait inside that prison in Brooklyn until his sentencing on October 3rd.
Letters poured into the court from supporters, from associates, from people who insisted that Combs had changed. Even Virginia Gina Huyn, identified in court documents as Victim 3 and once counted among his accusers, submitted a plea for his release. She wrote that he should be given the chance to be with his family while awaiting sentencing, that he had grown, that he deserved this concession. But the judge was unmoved. On August 4th, the court again denied bail. The ruling was blunt. There were no exceptional reasons to override the mandatory detention that follows Mann Act convictions. The risk of flight, the potential danger to the community, and the violent incidents documented in evidence outweighed every argument the defense put forward. For Combs, that decision means the slow march toward October 3rd will take place from behind bars. And for those closest to him, it means another holiday season spent on the other side of a prison wall. The toll is not abstract. Families are living with the absence, the missed celebrations, the empty chairs at the table, the visits that can only happen through thick glass or under the watchful eyes of correctional officers. And while Combs is far from the only inmate facing the prospect of a holiday in prison, the contrast between the life he once lived and the one he lives now is stark. For a man used to controlling every detail of his public image, he is now under total control of the state. Every movement scheduled, every conversation monitored, every decision made for him. Those who have been in close contact describe a man adjusting to the grim realities of confinement. The silence of his old life has been replaced by the noise of prison corridors. The privacy of luxury estates traded for the shared space of a cell. The isolation is different here. Not the curated solitude of a celebrity retreat, but the enforced distance of incarceration.